is it just everybody's a little binged up?
Yeah, I'll let Coach Landon kind of touch on that, but it's a great opportunity for the young guys that just got here, and then some of the guys that haven't had opportunities in the past to really show what they can do and kind of learn on the run. So.
How beneficial is it for you to come in and have so many established vets, and how quickly are you able to get into kind of the nitty gritty of the offense and the offensive line?
It's been good. We were able to make some gains in the spring. They had a foundation to build upon. Some of the things that we're doing obviously are different, but it's a mature group, and they take pride in what they do. And some of them, they have their foot on the coals. They're trying to do some things and play beyond this. So there's a sense of urgency in the room, and guys are trying to do the best they can do every single day and pushing themselves.
Even going back to the end of spring, you were still rotating Steven and TJ in terms of guard, tackle, and seeing which was best. Mm-hmm. With TJ still a little limited so far, how do you try to go about making that final decision in 3 weeks, but you've got 2 scrimmages, one guy hasn't seen a lot of the field so far? How do you go about, what are you looking for to make that decision?
I have a good idea on, what position best suits them, but there's always, a positive outcome when you have position flexibility, mm-hmm. when you have some mobility. It's not something I like to do within a game, but it's comforting, especially for offensive coordinator, to know that guys are capable of doing certain things. And you never want to throw a guy in there during the game that hasn't taken any reps at that position and then kind of blame the kid and say, oh, well, he's not doing a good job. If you haven't given an opportunity to kind of hone his craft and do that, in practice, then you can't expect them to have success in the game. So it's just one of those things those guys have done in the past, and just keep them fresh for that. But my goal is not to do that throughout a game.
Where's Josh Connerly maybe impressed you the most in the first 6 practices?
Just his level of poise. He's making some mistakes. I mean, he's a young guy. There's a lot thrown on his plate. We're going kind of fast. I kind of overload him initially, throw him in the fire, and just build up a little bit of mental toughness. But he's a guy that's up for it, and just he's energized by the moment. And he's been pushing through it. And I guess another thing I'm impressed with is that he's never complaining ever. He's just his competitive poise is really impressive for a young man.
How about with Dave and Kawika, who are also new here?
Yeah, Dave and Kawika, the same thing. Those guys are really pushing themselves, and they're trying to do the best they can. And just they're all working. And the older guys that we have in our group are really good with that in terms of mentoring and kind of putting their arm around them, and just talking about the little things, like in terms of having a routine off the field and keeping your body fresh and all that. And so those guys are kind of taken to that, and it's a good group of kids.
How different is that as a coach compared to last time you were at this level, where the 4-game redshirt rule wasn't a thing? So it would be like, all right, well, you're going to probably play under redshirt true freshman, but here, even if they redshirt, you can still play. It doesn't have to be defined by, are you on the field week 1? You could be on the field week 2. You could be on the field week 4, where, again, last time you're at UCLA, probably thinking more in terms of the long term, and they're absolutely not going to play. Here, they could be playing week 2.
It's kind of unique at UCLA, and there's a bunch of guys, like almost 2 waves that went to NFL, and all those guys started as a true freshman. Most of them were 3 and out, and so it's kind of never really had the luxury of redshirting guys. So been through this before. Just you kind of weather the storm. You just hope guys pick things up on a good. I don't want them to get flustered, because I'm not flustered. It's just as we make mistakes during practice, we just go inside and we get them corrected. The only time it becomes problematic is if they become error repeaters, right? So we just try to build off what we do each day, and if there is something that needs to be corrected, we just address it. And those guys have been doing a good job of retaining things and building up on the things they did well the day before, and just we want to continue going in that direction.
You had pads on today. Did it sound different? Did it sound like you wanted to sound with full pads on?
No, it's the same for us. I mean, we're overworked and underappreciated. It's just offensive line. Even when we don't have pads on, guys are throwing hands and all that. You tell them to calm down, but both sides of the ball are competitive and in close quarters, and just an aggressive group. And sometimes when it gets a little bit hot and everything, things get turned up because they get a little frustrated, and it's more about trying to dial it down. There's no need to go out there today and get them all riled up or anything like that. They're ready to go and thump a little bit, but they've been doing that anyway. The guys have been working really hard. Coach Lane's kind of fired up and pushing them each day the right way, and the guys have been responding well.
When you do have the benefit of and the luxury of having a really experienced group, fans can look at it and say, well, there's not a lot of questions necessarily, because they see a lot of returning starters. Mm-hmm. But the minute they go to the next level is going to be all the warts, all the things that they point out and whatnot. So what are the things that you see to come from the NFL, where a guy like Alex, a guy like Ryan, all these guys who've played quite a bit, but they still have lots of areas to improve before leaving here?
Yeah, you can have a certain level of success. It could be dependent on the conference you're in, who you're going against. There are a number of different variables that contribute to that. But the interesting thing about this, and what's wonderful about this, every dollar I've ever made has been in football. I've been around my whole life. You could always get better. That's whether you're a coach or a player. It's just every day you're building upon your skill set, your legacy, and all those different things. So I mean, hand placement, footwork, and all those things, especially for those guys. We're doing a lot of things totally different than what they're doing last year. So it's definitely a learning curve, and there's not that they come in and just know exactly what to do. We're giving things and adding to it every day. So I think from a standpoint of drill work and all that, you're adding to your masterpiece all the time, and you could always build upon it and refine your tools.
What's it been like over the last few months working with Kenny Dillingham, with Carlos Lachlan, kind of meshing your schemes with their schemes and just getting to kind of build your own offense together?
It's been great. I think Kenny is really open to everything. He has his ideas on certain things, and he has some principles that are kind of concrete, but he's allowed us to have some say in that, and then he's also allowed us to bring in some of our own ideas. And the one thing about it is maybe he doesn't use everything, but he's open to anything. And just he's a guy that his doors is always open, and you know how Kenny is. I mean, he's easy going guy. I enjoy our meetings. It's unique. It's just it's a casual environment, but it's in terms of our meeting. But he's demanding at the same time, and he wants fresh ideas. And if he has questions, you better have answers. So as long as you have that, then he's willing to utilize anything that you have to bring to the table.
What about with Coach Lachlan? I mean, how's that been with you, like kind of creating the run game and getting those lanes together and stuff?
We have the same mindset and same ideals in terms of aiming points at the bags and what the lines are supposed to do and how you fit combos and all that stuff like that. It makes it pretty easy. So along those lines, we're on the same wavelength. So it's pretty fairly easy transition.
Realize the task is certainly in the here and now, and this week, and a scrimmage, and obviously this season. But have you emphasized to your second unit guys in particular that this is time really that's crucial for them, because you are probably going to lose at least 4, potentially 5 guys, and the questions we're going to ask you in February and March could be very well answered if they capitalize now.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, I'm loyal to my guys. They're my guys. But I mean, it's just whoever's the best. What have you done for me lately? If there's a guy that elevates himself, plays better than the guys that've been here, then he's going to play. And I owe that to the other guys, to that player, the guys that are next to him, and to our team. To have our best 5 out there. So they know it, and that's my mentality about it. Just whoever's the best 5 is going to play. And if it's a guy that maybe is a different position, but he's better than some other guys, then he's going to get in the game. If it's a young guy that 4th game of the season, he's going to be better than somebody else, and he's going to start out early on. So it's just giving them the opportunity, and because of certain things, people are having more opportunity than usual, and it's just a matter of what they can do with it and how soon they can do it.
Just another aspect of the job on recruiting side, your perspective on where you guys sit, particularly in the offensive line group at this point, and what you're kind of aiming for in this class.
We're just aiming to get good players, right? Just working at it, and just it's a continuing process. There's a reason why, majority of teams in the league, the offensive linemen are some of the highest paid players. It's just it's almost like a dying breed. It's hard to find quality old linemen, especially coming out. You just project, take your time with it. There's some guys that are late developers, and those are the guys sometimes that you want because they have the upside. Some of these guys that come out and they're ready-made, they're kind of tapped out by the beginning of their sophomore year, or never really get any better. So it's just about making the right decisions, especially for us. It's critical because there is going to be so much movement after the season. There's a lot of kids that are going to have the opportunity to come in here and have an immediate impact. So you want to make the right decisions.
And of course, adding the best players possible. But are you aiming minimum 3 and preferably closer to 4 or 5 based on how many you leave?
Yeah, I'm not sure with that. It just kind of depends on. I think that'll depend on the quality. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to just take 6 to take 6. I'm not going to, it's just if we can get some, quality players, then we take them, and if we can't, then we take less. So.
What area do you feel your group can improve most on before week 1?
I think it's one thing to memorize everything and kind of know what you're supposed to do, but just to apply it, put everything together. Like I said, it's a work in progress. Even at the end of the season, I'm not going to be satisfied with it. You just want to kind of master your craft. So we're just going to keep on working on it every single day.
Do you cross-train true freshmen at all in the fall? Like, is Josh a left tackle only? Is Dave a left guard only?
Every player is unique, so it's just it changes depending on the kid and what they can handle mentally. So even though I want to kind of throw them in the fire and create a sense of urgency, at the same time I want to give them a fair chance. And I want the other coaches to have a fair assessment of them. Some people aren't able to handle certain loads, and then there's other people that can. And some players have different skill levels at certain times, and so just want to give them a fair opportunity. And I know what they can do and what they're capable of, and if they can show me they can do more, then get more. And if they can't, then I'll taper it back a little bit and slow it down, and let them catch up. So,
in general, though, you're trying to have an idea of when do you want to have an idea of where everybody fits best?
Every day. Every day. Every day is you're evaluating that, and it's a constant work constant work. It's always in progress. So I can't say there's a day where you just figure out okay, this is it. It's just when those guys, they're developing every single day, and some people it may take 2 weeks, some people may take 2 months.